This episode is presented by Texas Ale Project. Alrighty, well, welcome back, Oversurf listeners out there. Christmas is over, the new year is about to be upon us, and I just got back yesterday. I've been in the sunny Caribbean and Mexico, the Gulf, and everything. Had a little cruise vacation, but Phil, I guess we should start a little bit with the party. You had your 9th annual. Did you count last year as one of your annual parties?
Yeah, of course. Why? We hosted. I mean, we organized everything and got everyone together. So you got to count that as number.
This
number
should be 8.5. Last year counts as half. That wasn't really. I mean, we just all went out to dinner and then to a bar. We do that all the time.
No, but we did a
just
gift. Not everyone does a gift exchange at dinner. We did that.
Yeah.
And we all went to the bar together after dinner. So I think that counts as a party. And we organized it. So.
I agree to disagree.
But I mean, number 9 was a.
It was a doozy. And my favorite part about any party is like the end of the party when like most of the people are gone, but like the crew's still there. Mm-hmm. Because when I get, we'll say tipsy.
I think you're a well beyond tipsy.
But I like to do some karaoke.
You do. You like to do some dancing.
I like to put on a show. Sometimes clothes come off. Who are we kidding? All the time clothes come off. But I love me some drunk karaoke. That's like my favorite thing in the world. I just get my phone out, plug it in, and I am singing to the world. And my go-to, John, you're going to like this, my go-to is Usher. I kill Usher.
Well,
like just old school, my way, nice and slow. Nice and slow.
Can you give us a little sample?
I got to get a few more of these beers. These are good beers. If I get a few more of these in me, maybe Wildcard Whiskey Weekend
that's gonna
get me singing.
Yeah, that one.
Because I mean, on the way here, my favorite thing, I drive a lot with my job. My favorite thing about like being by myself in my car, like once I'm done listening to like sports radio or anything, I just jam out in my car.
So you like
I'm the person when you pass them, you're like laughing because I'm just killing it. I was listening to some Train Meet Virginia on the way. Oh man, I was belting it out.
Yeah,
I was having a good time on my way to Dallas.
You don't sound nearly as good as you think you do.
No, I know I'm terrible, but I don't care. See, sometimes it's the effort.
Yeah,
I get an E for effort on my singing.
I'll give you that.
So,
you did.
I'm tone deaf, but I have rhythm.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I'll give you that.
And
I'll stop there.
My moves are unbelievable. I was talking to a friend. If Usher ever comes to Dallas, I'm there, like front row.
I'm sure he'd love to have you there too.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that?
No.
I don't know what that means.
No, I'm saying I'm sure he'd love to see you dancing and singing his songs.
I'd be in heaven.
He's all right.
I remember Dan in college, we used to do like music videos, and we it was so embarrassing. Like I still have some like
You're gonna have to find those and post them.
No, well you can't post them. But yeah, it's just a good time. 90s R&B. One of the best genres of all time.
Yeah, I would agree.
I got a little LSG My Body going on at the party, and then
90s rap too.
Phil and his wife what y'all danced to? I think it was Babyface, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When Can I See You Again?
Yeah.
We had it going.
Yeah.
We had it going. It was fun. So
yeah, I just remembered that.
Yeah. Phil forgot a lot of things from that party.
Yeah.
But it was good. I had fun. My gift, I think that I brought this year was pretty good. And then so everybody always wonders what I get. Somebody asked me, "Is this the one you brought?" and then picked it. I was like, "Why would you pick the gift I bring?"
Yeah, I woke up the next morning to email alerts on my phone telling me that I have Ecobee, that the furnace is like similar to Nest, telling me that they shut off my furnace. And I was like, why the heck would you shut off my...
Did you not pay your bills?
No, I did. I walk out to the living room. Our front door is completely open. Our garage door is completely open.
You leave doors open this year.
I didn't leave anything open. We had people crash out, right? They didn't drive home. and the door was wide open, and it was 18 degrees that morning. So
that was freezing.
The message I got: the furnace has been on for 3 consecutive hours, and the degrees continue to drop. So it just shut
Sylvia's
down.
out there saying, "Go Cowboys!" We're going to get into the Cowboys in just a second. But that morning, I had to drive to Galveston, so I left your house at like 3:30, and I made a commitment: no shots after midnight. My last shot was at 12:30, so I was close. But I had to drive at like 6:30 in the morning to Galveston to get on the cruise, and it was 18 degrees outside, and all 4 tires were low on air, and I had to go, and I didn't have any gloves or anything, and I was just like freezing. Yeah, it was the worst. But
a good weekend.
Let's go ahead and get into the Cowboys. You went to the game.
Yes, I did.
It was an exciting game, like for the least amount of mattering ever.
Yeah,
like that was an exciting.
It didn't feel like it didn't matter. The crowd was into it for the most part.
The players
were into it.
Dak was too into it. He took some big hits that he did not need to take.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt that you had the homegrown boy there, Matt Stafford, and he was lighting us up. And obviously, everyone watched him lighting us up in the first half. And that running back, was that Jim Brown out there for the Lions?
The white Jim Brown.
The white Jim Brown.
I'm sure Jim would be proud to hear that.
Theo Reddick is on my fantasy team. I don't even know who this kid is, this guy.
It was like center or something.
He was just running through us. So it was an exciting game. It was back and forth. Luckily, Sean
Lee... first half.
Yeah, in the first half, yeah. And then Sean Lee gets the defense on the sideline, yells at him, cusses, says, "Hey, I know this game doesn't mean anything, but we're not going to ride into the playoffs playing like this." So good for Sean.
Yeah, and he gave a lot of credit to Rod Marinelli, too.
Yeah.
So, with a bunch of, I wouldn't call them injuries, but people hurt, he had to come up with some things, and it worked.
Yeah.
And
I will say this, a funny note about Zeke, our big Zeke bet with AP in his rookie year. And who would
Zeke cost us both about $400.
Yeah. I was in my fantasy championship, and I needed Zeke just to not have a crazy game. And when he busted out that 55-yard touchdown in the beginning of the game, and I just knew at that point I was going to lose. It was so bittersweet.
Yeah.
But I won a big bet with Zeke and lost a big bet. So you win. You
live by the Zeke, die by the Zeke.
Live by the Zeke, die by the Zeke.
But biggest hit of the game goes to our punter,
Chris Jones.
Yeah, you were on your way back. Right?
Yeah, I tried to get a jump on traffic and totally missed that and the second Dez touchdown. But Chris Jones, I mean, you saw that live.
I've never seen.
Well, Jason Garrett was
talking. Do anything.
Well, this guy's athletic, right?
Yeah.
Remember the
I've never seen him lay somebody.
No, he is, but he is athletic. He's not your normal punter. That fake punt against Philly in week 5.
Yeah.
I mean, he has wheels. The dude is athletic.
Yeah.
And he laid the wood on that guy. I mean, that's embarrassing to get laid out by a punter. And then he kind of even stopped and kind of looked down a little bit at him, like he was J.J. Wilcox.
we had 2 throwers over 147 passer rate.
I saw that.
Dez's touchdown throw I forgot he was left-handed.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
I mean, I guess you would never really know that a wide receiver's left-handed.
At the beginning of the season, I would have told you that Dez Bryant would have more touchdown passes than Tony Romo and be 12-2.
How much do you think you would make on that bet?
A lot.
That's got to be $4 million to 1.
I would have taken that bet. That would be
that was
a rich man.
He's 1 for 1 on the season. 100 QBR. He has a perfect QBR.
What was his like 147?
147.9. So almost perfect passer, but a perfect QBR rating.
Yeah, I saw a meme. It said, "Forget Tony and Dak debate, but let's talk about the Dak Dez debate for quarterback."
Yeah, it was exciting. It was an ugly throw, but it was exciting.
It was not an ugly throw. It was sharp. He floated. It was perfect.
Yeah,
I thought it was a nice
quacked
pass.
a little bit, but
it was a nice pass.
Talking about Dak, though, 15 for 20, 75%. The week before, we missed the podcast, so we didn't get to talk about it, but we kind of talked about it the week before the Bucs game, that everybody needs to shut up because
we said
you can't look at one bad game and say that, Dak and all this stuff. And some people were saying 2 bad games. He was, 12 for 18 against Minnesota? He just didn't throw a lot.
Yeah.
He didn't have a bad game. He didn't have a good game, of course, but...
Yeah, I mean, I would say at the catalog of the season, that was probably his second or third worst performance of the season against the Vikings. And then obviously, I think we'd all agree that Giants game at New York was his worst performance.
Yeah, saying the Vikings game, I mean, that's like saying the dumbest kid at MIT, though. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game he didn't play very well. But we said it then, right after that, he deserves the right to get himself out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And he definitely did that. And I don't think there's any question now.
He had the second highest completion rating or completion percentage ever for more than 30 passes since
what was it, like 90%?
89%.
89, right at 90, okay.
89%.
He was just on point that game. And
he was ready to come out and just kind of shut people up a little bit. And I mean, this is the good and bad of being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
It is the biggest spotlight in sports. More than anything, even in the world, soccer's the biggest sport, but there's no spotlight bigger than Dallas Cowboys quarterback.
Yeah, I would agree. It's because you get the blame for the losses, you get credit for the wins, and if there's any rough patch in a 13-2 season, that was it. And he responded as well as you would want a rookie to. I mean, we're not talking about a 10-year vet here, the way he responded, but he's a rookie, and the way he responded in these two games against teams. Keep in mind, these two teams were fighting for their playoff lives, right?
Oh yeah.
Tampa had they were 5 in a row. They needed that game to stay with Atlanta in the NFC South, and we beat them. And then obviously the Lions had everything to play for last night, and he played. He went. The discussion is can he hang in a high flying score fest, and will he be able to maintain it?
Score fest, I like that.
A high flying game. Can he gun? He's not really a gunslinger, but he moved the team easily when needed, and
his deep ball looked good yesterday. He had 3 deep balls to Dez twice and to Bryce Butler.
Yeah,
and just
it's
all
getting
3
better.
were great.
He's getting better, and one of the things I'm almost glad. You always want to play with the best competition, and Darius Slay for the Lions, their number 1 corner, was out this game, so he was matched up with the second corner, and it gave Dak some confidence to just throw it to Dez. Like, get the ball to Dez if he's one-on-one. I know it wasn't the number 1 corner, but it'll build that confidence. So when he is matched up to a Janoris Jenkins or a really good corner, that he's just going to trust himself and trust that Dez can make the play, which we've seen Dez make plays on big corners, on high-flying corners, and he continues to do that. It's a 50-50 shot anytime you have Dez one-on-one.
Yeah, Dez played like a superstar wide receiver.
Yeah, and he is. And again,
he hasn't been playing like
Well, he hasn't, but part of that is Dak hasn't really unleashed it like he has the last couple games, and he's unleashed it to Dez, especially last night. He was throwing it to Dez, and so you can't say maybe it was Dez or Dak, but there's a big chemistry issue. There was a chemistry issue. I think they fixed that, and they're working through that. And we're going to need that deep ball in the playoffs.
Yeah,
there's no way around it.
So. For sure. And, Kevin's saying it's easy throwing for 80% when you're throwing to Witten and Beasley, but he's just doing it. I mean, not every quarterback's going to do that. You're going to see Matt Stafford wouldn't be doing that. Matt Stafford would be going for the deep ball every time.
Yeah.
And he's learning to do the deep ball more, but you can't live and die by the deep ball.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with if our offense is shorter pass. There's nothing wrong. Tom Brady's made a living off of short passes, right? He can go deep, and a lot of people think of Tom Brady and that 2017 when he had Randy Moss, and he would always go deep. But if you look at Tom Brady's passing chart this year, and you look at Dak's passing chart for this year, they're going to look very similar
Tom Brady throws the short ball very well.
They do that in lieu of a running game sometimes. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's what the defense gives you. Then take it as long as you're 90%. Or
if the defense is going to give you 5 yards, guess what you're going to get? A first down.
Yeah. I mean, and this offense is afforded that the offensive line, the running game, it keeps it really well balanced. And he doesn't have to make these over-the-top throws.
Well, let's talk about the defense because they started out not good. And then they turned into the second half into a good defense. And some things that our DBs are playing well, very well. Chris Wilcox is playing.
JJ. What do you
I don't know why I keep calling him Chris Wilcox. Chris Wilcox wasn't even good in the NBA. But JJ Wilcox got an interception. And he almost had a second one. And David Irving is a beast.
He is playing consistent. This is the first time he's had 2 consecutive games where he's been a factor. We saw flashes of that against Green Bay earlier in the season, but we really didn't see him in between Green Bay and Tampa. And this is a really good time for him to turn it on because we're definitely going to need if the Packers come into town, any of these, Matt Ryan comes into town, we're going to have to get pressure.
And Randy Gregory's back, and I'm not going to say he looked amazing, but for not playing for over a year or almost a year.
And as the game went on, he was getting more effective, so that's a positive note.
He's going to be a big thing for this defense going into the playoffs. And then special teams looked good.
Yeah.
Not only the big hit by Chris Jones, but McFadden and Lucky returning kicks. People are going to have to kick it out of the end zone because they were averaging like 25, 30 yards of return. And
not just on special teams, but McFadden as spelling.
Yeah.
He had a great game, man. That's a 1-2 punch. That's a scary 1-2 punch.
Yeah, we might have the best backup running back and quarterback in the league.
I know we do. I know we do. Both of those guys, Romo and McFadden, go start for a lot of teams out there.
And McFadden only had 3.5 yards per carry, but a lot of his carries were just junk. We're just trying to run the clock out, so that kind of hurt it a little bit. But he's an upgrade over Alfred. Yeah, he's a decent starter. He's a great backup running back.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited.
Good problem. I mean, we're almost, I don't want to say it, but man, we're in a position where you saw with Oakland, we'll get into that I'm sure later, with Oakland and even Tennessee, where you lose that player and your season's done.
And after seeing that, when Dak was getting hit, you had to think back to Carr.
Yeah, absolutely. It happened a couple days before.
I don't get how Jason Garrett didn't grab him and go, this game does not matter.
Yeah,
do not get hit. Yes, go for the win. You don't take hits in this game.
Yeah, I mean,
and on all of the hits, he didn't even get the extra yardage.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that, but you're also asking them to play in real speed. You're going to get hurt if you're not playing real speed, so you have to tell
just slide. He needs to slide. You can't take those. You can take those hits in the playoffs when you're trying to get a first down, and it's win or go home.
But not at Lions when you have nothing to play for.
Yeah. But exciting game, and I'm proud of the guy. I mean, I honestly didn't think we'd see the starters at the end of the game, but we did. But they played with purpose.
Yeah.
Which it's hard to when there's nothing that matters with this.
Yeah, and I always do this, but going back to the 2014 season, this game reminded me a lot of when we clinched the division and played the Colts, where it was just domination from beginning to end. Even though we
were in the Founders Club for that one.
Yeah, we were in the Founders Club, and we didn't dominate from a defensive standpoint for the beginning of the game, but our offense played amazing, as well as you could ask them to play from beginning to end.
Alrighty, well, let's take a little break right here, and then we are going to get into happy hour and see what we've been drinking. This is good.
Yeah, it is.
Have any questions? Do you have questions? You take a break then? Are you going to get some, or we just want to skip it? Or
Yeah, turn it off.